Welcome. This is a special edition on Quadrangle, the 76th Bradby Shield edition, and we have with us a special guest this evening. It is none other than Mr. Sriyan Cooray, the chairman of NDB, and he is more special that he will be the chief guest of this year's 76th Bradby Shield first leg here in Colombo. He is a special personality, the 1983 captain of Royal. The 100th Bradby Shield encounter was played in 1983, and he had the privilege of captaining the Royal College team in that prestigious encounter in the 83, alongside Ashan Ratwata of Trinity College. Good evening, Mr. Sriyan Cooray, and welcome to today's show.
Good evening, God. Thank you.
Now, Bradby is a lifetime opportunity. It's a once in a lifetime for most of the players, but you had the privilege of representing your college 4 times in a row, donning that blue and gold jersey from 80 to 84. So 80 to 83, I beg your pardon. And talking about your roots, you come from a rugby family. And now, besides having uncles, including the ever-famous Maestro Rodrigo, whose the tunnel is named after him at the Royal College Sports Complex. Now, besides, you have many uncles who played the game at the highest level. How was it to follow and grow up in such a rugby background as a kid? If we could recollect your memories those days.
Yeah, I think it was a comfort to have so many past rugby stalwarts, being in the family. And I still remember when I was very small, it was Mahesh Mama who brought me a small rugger ball and gave it to me, and I would say that was sort of the seeds of me starting to play rugger. In fact, when I came for Mr. Sumanavaratna's academy here at the CR FC in 1970, it was my uncle Mahesh Mama who brought me for that. So I was at Royal Junior then. Royal Junior didn't have rugger. So my rugby started here at CR FC at Suma's academy. Then it was called SLRFU. And yeah, it was daunting. Everyone kept saying you have big shoes to fill with Mahesh Mama, Devka Mama, and then of course my brother also, 2 years older to me, who also played. So it was very encouraging, but also big shoes to fill. Yeah.
Of course, CR FC has been a grassroots for many top-class rugby players here in Sri Lanka. Many schoolboys. It has been, in fact, a nursery of rugby players here in Colombo, as well as Candy players also coming in to play in this prestigious club for Sri Lanka. Now, sir, your earliest memories of rugby at Royal College after the Royal Junior School, how was it the good old days?
Yeah, no, that's it. So Royal College and Royal Junior were amalgamated in 1979. So that's when I first came into playing rugby for school. Played under 15 that year in 1979. And my first exposure to rugby, but rugby was played more as a fun game. It was not as sort of professional as is today. So it was fun. We played in 79 playing under 15. Then in 80, I was appointed captain to the under 17 side, but I never actually played. I was a non-playing captain because I was selected to go and play for the first 15. So in 80, I played first 15. I was 15 years old at that time, and there are only, I think, 2 or 3 other Royalists who have played first 15 at that age. So it was a very, very fast climb from 1 year under 15, then under first 15. But it was good. And as I said, it wasn't as competitive. You had all the support from your seniors, all that. The coaches were all old boys, so it was a very different atmosphere. But it was a very pleasant experience.
So it seems like you have never played the Simitra trophy.
No, I played the Simitra 1 year,
right.
And then after that only went in. So actually that first year I played under 15 and under 17. So that's the time Simitra was introduced a few years before that. Yes.
So top-notch schoolboy player, even from those young, tender little ages.
Well, I won't know about top notch, but played the game and enjoyed it, thoroughly enjoyed it. That was, I mean, it was what it was about.
Now, Mr. Cooray, you earlier mentioned at the start that you were first trained by Mr. Suma Navaratnam at
That's
his
right.
academy. And
Yeah.
now that academy has produced one of the top-class rugby players to Sri Lanka, especially from Royal College. How was the memories training under Mr. Navaratnam, once the fastest man in Asia?
Yeah, no, it was fantastic. As I said, it was here at the CR at the corner, and again the beauty of that was it was not a school in that sense. So we had players from St. Thomas's, Wesley, Isipatana, you know, all the schools used to come and practice here. So it gave us a exposure. I still am friendly with some of the guys who came for those practices, and I still remember we had under 10 tournament in Kandy, and we won all our games. So we should have been in the quarterfinals. The schools protested, saying, "Look, this is a schools tournament, and you all are not a school," because we had not Trinity, Royal, St. Thomas's, Wesley, you know. So they said it's not fair to let you all play. So we were disqualified, and we had to come back. And I still remember Mr. Navaratna taking us then to Peradeniya, the what do you call it? Not the gardens, the rest house,
Right.
and giving us iced coffee and pacifying us, because these are young boys, and you were like saying, "Look, we won all our games, why aren't you allowed to play?" But it was, and I'm still friendly with some of those guys. I mean, just to mention, unfortunately, he's passed away, Fasi Dore, who played with me at Summa's academy. You know,
Brother of former Sri Lanka player.
yes,
Zubair
Zubair Dore
also
yes,
passed on
yes.
recently.
So it was a great this thing, and actually, if you look at the CR records, my membership says I joined in 1970, which is when I actually came for Summa's academy at 7
schoolboy.
years old, schoolboy. Yeah.
Now, I mean, talking about that academy team now, must have been a superb combined schools team back in the days.
Absolutely. Academy still runs. I'm involved in it now, giving back to what I got. And we still got a lot of schoolboys. 90% is Royal, but we got a lot of other schoolboys coming in, international school people. Plus, even today, we have, I think, 5 ladies who come for practices.
That's a pretty wonderful to hear. And also, sir, you excelled in other sports at Royal College as well. And as your blazer pocket says, it says rugby, football, and athletic colours. So, how was it representing multiple sports for Royal College?
Okay. Yeah, so I did athletics also and got colours, plus I captained athletics also in 1983. The one big difference, I mean, in addition to that, I played basketball. I was not in the first 5, but I was in the first side, you know. So played basketball. See, I have had my athletics coach chase me out from athletics practice, saying that, you know, you got the Royal Thomaian match or the Bradby Shield coming up, you got to go and practice. Whereas today, schoolboys are in a problem. They are saying, "Look, athletics coach is not allowing me to go for Raga because they are worried you get injured," you know, because each one, it's become so professional. But as I said, in our days, they encouraged it. They encouraged it, so we could manage the sports a bit better. The pressure was less, and, you know, we really enjoyed what we were doing. So things have changed, but those days it was very, very encouraged. Yeah.
Absolutely. Now you rarely see sportsmen from schools representing multiple sports, and there used to be times, as you might remember, some guys used to do 4 or 5 sports at college, and you excelled in almost everything.
Absolutely. We have some guys who have 4 different colors. I mean, they managed it, and as I said, it was encouraged. Today, things are a bit different. I mean, it's more professional, so every coach protects their players, and, you know, it's very difficult today to be doing 2 sports even, never mind more than that. Yeah.
Yes, now, Mr. Cooray, how was it your first experience of playing for the college first 15? How was that experience, wearing the blue and gold for the very first time?
Yeah, so again, I was fortunate. I was just 15 years old, but my brother was also in the same team. So as a result, I had the comfort of knowing I have a big guy here to look after me, sort of, and all the others. I mean, I had the privilege of being in the same sort of circles with people like Rohanta Pires, Rabba Gunasekar, and all of them who were really nice characters and who encouraged us. So it was a great feeling, and fortunately for me, that first year of mine was a good year with under Sujanta Kumar. So we're winning most of our matches, so it obviously encouraged us. And I scored the only try that was scored in the first leg of the Bradby Shield down here in Colombo, again at London Place.
That was in which year?
In
Your first year?
1980,
80.
my first year, yes. So it was a good experience. Yeah, unfortunately in Kandy, we won the Bradby, but I got a high tackle and was in hospital, spent the night in hospital under observation for concussion. So couldn't celebrate it, but overall it's great.
Concussions, major issue we face, especially in this year's 2022 schools rugby season. Many players going through HIA tests during
Correct.
the match, and that has been. Now, how was it? How was it back then having a concussion? How did you all cope up? with
Yeah,
that?
concussion was not even a word that was used during our time. There was no HIAs, there was nothing. It's just that after the match, I just could walk straight. And so a doctor just said, look, put him in hospital and observe him for overnight to see how he is. So, the game has changed, the intensity has changed significantly, and obviously the rules have changed, and there's a lot more done now to make sure the players are protected. As I said, I don't think that word concussion was in our vocabulary even when we played rugby.
It was all in all a hardy game where boys used to give out their best. But in fact, we should be happy that safety precautions have been taken. Safety first right now in this day and age.
Absolutely, yeah.
Now, Mr. Cooray, you had the opportunity, as you said previously as well, playing under some great rugby players and also playing under great Royal College teams during those 4 years you played for Royal. Can you recall some of those top-notch players and top teams you had the privilege of playing under at Royal?
Yeah. So actually, I would say starting from the year Rabba Gunasekara captain, with Rabba, that was an exceptional side, and he was such a good leader. Then after that came Rohanta, again, exceptional, the way they, rallied the team around. So the first 3 years, that was Rabba, Rohanta and Suku, those really showed us how things should be done, and that's 3 years that we won the Bradby Shield continuously, the first time. So, they were fantastic years, that was very positive, but it was not just on the field, the playing, it was off the field, the players, it was really, really good. For me, that gave a lot of grounding.
I was also very fortunate and privileged to play under the captaincy of my brother Sujiva Cooray, and then the following year under the captaincy of Ted Muttaya, both of which are very memorable years for me.
Now, finally coming up down to the 1983 season, before we notch up some other extra questions. We have some interesting questions lined up for you. That 1983 season, the 1983, the year was a chaotic year. In fact, for the whole of Sri Lanka, many incidents happened in and out of the field. How did you manage, and how was it to captain the 1983 Royal College team?
Yeah, well, I had 4 colorsmen in the side, so we were not a hot side, we were a very mediocre side, which was good. The expectations were limited, so we could concentrate on our game and didn't have too much pressure on us trying to. But the team was fantastic. They gelled together, and it was a very, very close-knit side. And we had a good season. We only lost 3 games in the entire season. Unfortunately, we lost the Bradby Shield also, but we won the other major games. We won the Patana game, the St. Thomas's game, St. Peter's, all those games, Kunratna, yes, all those we won. The Bradby, of course, we lost the Kandy leg, won the Colombo leg, which was the 100th. So I think it was like no side won. We won the 100th, but we lost the Bradby, so we didn't celebrate. Trinity won the Bradby, but lost the 100th, so they also couldn't celebrate. So it was a damper.
You had the absolute pleasure of winning the Bradby for Royal under the presence of Mr. Edward Lawrence Bradby himself, coming into the CRMC grounds as the chief guest for the 100th encounter. That might have been a massive moment for you and the team.
Absolutely. To have the donor of the trophy coming down for that was a big event. Just having him shake our hands before the game. was big. But I wish I could have also had the privilege of taking the Bradby off him. But well, that wasn't to happen. So that's the sport. I mean, if you win a win.
This the particular incident gives me chills when you, the moment when you received the Bradby from Mr. Bradby himself must have been an absolutely once in a lifetime opportunity, I would think.
It is. I guess it is absolute once in a lifetime to be able to take that Bradby and hold it up there. It's unfortunately 4 years of rugby for all. Only 1 year I've had that privilege, but it's been good.
So, 83 Ashan Rathwat, your counterpart, your skipper from Trinity, the opposing skipper, had the privilege to take it home. Now, talking about the first leg in Kandy, now there have been pretty interesting calls on 4 tries being disallowed, and what do you have to say about that?
Well, the referee's decision is final. So we may debate it, we may disagree with it, but at the end of the day, that's the final call. The referee made the call, right or wrong, and we will live with that. I mean, the record will show that year Trinity won it, and I think you got to give credit to the boys. I mean, the Trinitians played their hearts out. They had no control over the referee. I'm not going to debate that. I'm not going to debate that. There are so many things. Yes, it happens. These things happen. So
now that's a very important note for all the young rugby players out there, Mr. Cooray, and all the fans and the supporters of schools teams to take a win and a loss without any hesitation, giving your opponent their rightful respect, and finally you got to live with what you have.
That taught us a lot of lessons to all our boys. It taught us a lot of lessons, and we've learned from it. And I think at the end of the day, yes, we lost at Bradby, but we are better for it. We all know. I mean, today when we meet, that very often, especially around the Bradby, comes up as a discussion point because we were on that field, we saw it, and we have whatever we were to say. But we've learned from it, and we moved on. That's nothing to be debated on anymore.
Such is life.
Such is life. Such
and
is
of course, after leaving college after 1983, interesting year for you, leading the Royal College side, and you joined CR FC right here, the home of Colombo, Ceylonese Rugby Football Club. Can you talk about playing for CR, then going on to represent the national team, donning the Tuskers jersey, and to become the president of CRNFC, the club where you started at the age of 7 at the Rugby Academy of Mr. Sumanawathan. How does it feel to start from 7 years, tender boy, to the president of the club?
Yeah, no, it's been, I mean, I would say this is my second home. So this is where we spent, and coming out of school in 84, there were many school boys, Tiroy Fernando, Asanga Senviratna, Ajit Gunasekara, Ajit Veeratunga, all of Janakalena Dua, all of us came to CR, and the inaugural year of the Premadasa Trophy knockout was 84. We all played in that final. And it so happened, when I say I was the one who happened to cross the line, but it was all teamwork. I scored a final try in the dying minutes against CH, and we won the Premadasa Trophy. There's a lot of controversy about that also, as to how the line out was taken. Again, it's good when we meet up, we debate it, and we have a good laugh about it. And then obviously, but you think, see, times are different. You're asking about CR. I actually had to pay to buy my second jersey for CR. There was no jerseys given free. There was no medical provided, and you had the miracle ice. Whether you had a cracked head or a smash, you got a piece of ice and you played on. But again, I had the opportunity of playing with some wonderful people in CR, and they taught us a lot about life, just not on the field, but off the field also, what it is, how to take wins. So it's been a fantastic, I mean, the rugby career was fantastic. I toured Thailand with the CR side, played so many with, the likes of CP Abegunodana, all those people. So it was fantastic. And then, yes, I got involved with the club about 8 years ago, when things were not looking too good in the club, and a few of us came in to try and resurrect it. And yeah, then after that ended up being 3 years as president. But it's good. It's definitely, I mean, I say this is my second home.
Now, Mr. Cooray, going back to that 1983 Bradby and the 4 years you played for Royal College, it has been a roller coaster ride for you during those few years. And our viewers would like, and we would like to know the special moments, the cherished moments with your teammates from that 4 years, and your last year playing here at the second leg at CRFC. You got a crunching tackle down the line and you had to wait at the hospital for 3 long months after that injury. And you'd like to tell us, talk through us regarding that incident, and of course the most memorable players you had at the Royal College team who later on came with you alongside, played with you at CRFC and other rival clubs. Can you walk through us?
Yeah, so as I said, our team was very special. We didn't have superstars. All of us were good players and we worked well as a team. We had the likes of Sampath Tagalawatha, and again, a lot of people don't know this. Sampath went through appendix operation 2 weeks before the Bradby. And obviously he was not allowed to play for a while, but we knew after the defeat in Kandy, we knew we had to come back and we had to put everything. So with the doctor's approval, we got permission for him to play, and he did not even warm up with the team. We had him as a surprise. We brought him through the back door to the dressing room. We warmed up without him. When the team ran onto the field, only that Sampath came onto the field. Surprise package, and he made a difference. I mean, he kicked a drop goal and he played well. So it was, I mean, you know, we did stuff like that, and then we had others, Sisiraratna, Joshua Suresh Kumar. I have to mention, I mean, sadly, that of my team, 4 members have now passed on. That's Sampath Tagalawatha, Joshua Suresh Kumar, Sisiraratnayaka, and Sanjay Sigera. They moved on. I'm sure they're all up there watching this and in a better place. But the rest of the team is still very much together, and we have our get-togethers on and off. But it's been a good run. And then yes, a lot of those players came and played for CR after that. Some went to CH, but a lot of them, as I said, that CR side in '84 was, I think, had so many schoolboys in it, which included about 5 of the Royal boys from my side. So yeah, it was a good innings. I mean, and after that, we played on for 3-4 years with the club. So, but I think all the Royalists came to CR. All the Royalists came to CR.
I think the dream come true. I mean, like felt right at home.
Very much, and also again, but we had Asanga, Dilroy, who were rivals, Tomi and Nishipatana, playing right next to, you know, so for me as scrum half, it was Asanga and Dilroy who was a standoff. We played against them, and now we are on the same side for CR, so it was really nice to play like that. Of course, Ashan was still on the other side because he was playing for Kandy. So at that time, yeah.
So interesting rivalries and friendships. Finally, it's the camaraderie, which is the most important aspect, where you have with your opponents on field. You fight for the ball, you play with all your heart, but end of the day, the good times and the good friends you make on the field.
That's something. I mean, we all talk of the rugby on the field, but I think what you have to realize is it's more than that. It's the off-field stuff that continues. You stop your rugby, but I mean, now we are 39 years after playing a Bradby. We are still good friends. We still meet up. There is a lot more that goes on off the field than on the field. As you said, on the field, you don't give any sort of, you do it 100%. But as soon as the game is over, you're the best friends and you move on. You know, it was done. It was played. We all played it for the love of the game. It was not to win. It was to play it for the love of the game. You give it your best. Yes, you'll have a result at the end of the day.
And also that injury which happened in the second leg, you missed on that point.
Yeah, well, yes. So in the dying minutes, I made the break of the scrum and ran to the line, and I was 100% sure that I will make it over the line, and I dived over. while I was in Midya, I had actually, I think I'd crossed the line, and Dushanta Vijay Singha from Trinity, who was the fullback, dived to tackle me, a desperate tackle, and he hit me with his head on my hip, and I just got taken straight out of the grounds. I did ground the ball, so I didn't score. And yes, not hospital, but I spent 3 months in bed at home because my cartilage and all that was gone. I believe Dushanta spent a couple of days in hospital concussed. And that's it. I mean, that could have gone anyway. He could have easily missed me in many ways, and if he, we could have scored, we would have still not won the Bradby. We had 5 points to catch up. A try those days was 4 points, so you'd have had to convert, and it was a corner flag. You never know what happens, but that's how the game goes.
And also the match was half an hour each, 60 minutes.
Match was half an hour each. Actually, yeah, half an hour each. Yes,
So
both ways.
points and the tallies back then, it's pretty harsh to compare some results back in the day.
You can't. Actually, I watch matches today and I think to myself, did I also play the same sport? It's completely different. I mean, the game has evolved. I mean, it's at a played at a different intensity, a different level. But to me, at school level, the fun, the love of the sport we played is a bit different today. It's a bit different.
Now, Mr. Cooray, looking back on what are your thoughts on what you learned at Royal College, wearing the blue and gold jersey on the field and off the field? What are your learnings from Royal and how it has helped you to become the chairman of the NDB Bank, and not only NDB, your whole life career up to date, 39 years after playing that Bradby and leaving college after 39 years, starting from that 7-year-old tender boy coming here at CR FC and redeveloping at Royal College, how it has evolved and helped your learnings from Royal College and what has made you today?
Yeah, so I think I would say rugby has taken me through to where I am today. Royal College, all the learnings, I mean, we didn't really study also, but the rugby has brought us here. It's taught us fair play, sportsmanship, respect your opponents. It was the discipline, the practice you put in, all that stuff. So it brought a lot of discipline to our life and a lot of respect, integrity, sportsmanship, how you do things. You would never do something to injure or to hurt an opponent. If you tackled him, yes, it was 100% tackle you gave. And I see it now. Sometimes a referee blows a whistle for a scrum, and if team A guy has the ball and it's team B ball, the guys throw the ball, and I'm like, why? In our time, if it was Trinity ball and the ball was near me, I'll pick it up and give it to Ashan. I mean, it's a sport at the end of the day. So I think there's a lot that we have lost also. We say it's a sport, but it's become very competitive when we've lost. For me, that I still apply those same rules with them in office. How you look at things, you look at it to be people to be treated equally alike. So all my success in my workplace, everything, I dedicate to that. I mean, at the end of the day, people do respect me and say, look, he's honest with what he does a fair thing, he doesn't, which is all that we learned on the playing field. So it's taught us a lot how to take defeat, how to, celebrate the victories, but also to be respectful that there is another team that has lost, they feel bad, you got to, so it's been, I would say, I'm here today where I am thanks to a lot of rugby and the people we met in Raga. So I mean, I was fortunate. The year after I captained, I had a call from Mr. Balendra saying we have a rugby dinner committee and we want you to join. At that time, it was only past captains who could join. And I said, okay, I was overwhelmed. I mean, I was not going to say no. When Mr. Balendra calls you and says, come for a dinner, I went, and you had the likes of Mr. Ajit Gunawardena, Mr. Balendra, Roti Sivaratna, Mahesh Rodrigo, Gamini Salgadu. I mean, those were all big names. And I was seated on the same table. And because you're a Ruggerite, there was, I was a podium on the table, but it was, come on, have a drink, It opened doors, it gave the confidence that I could go and talk. So for me, rugby has given me a hell of a lot. And I think if the boys take it in that spirit, there is a lot that is offered, just not on the field, but off the field also.
Of course, a very good message to all the parents who are reluctant for the boys to take up rugby, especially at this time and age. Mr. Sriyan Cooray here is a great example for you, who has become one of the top-notch players, and he has become what he is today, all due to rugby. That is what he has today. And now, Mr. Cooray, these are the last few moments of our show, and finally, what is your message to the young rugby players of both Royal and Trinity playing this year's Bradby, and of course the whole rugby fraternity, the community of rugby players here in Sri Lanka?
Yeah, I think at the end of the day, you need to enjoy the game. That's what it's about. It's a sport, you play it to develop a lot of skills, but you need to enjoy the game, and you have to do it with a lot of respect for your opponents. So there is a lot of intensity. I mean, it's unfair for the boys. There is so much pressure on the boys from, I think it's the parents and the old boys who put that pressure on them. There is a league, there is something else, in our time we didn't have those. We just played the game for the love of the game, and you really enjoyed it. So my message to the boys is, go out there and enjoy the game. That's what it's about. Yes, train hard, do all that, and take it in the spirit of the game. Yes, there could be opportunities, or there could be occasions where the referee makes a wrong call, or you think it's a wrong call. You got to respect that. I mean, the referee is also human. Respect that and move on. I mean, it's sad for me to see so many matches. They say there are fights after the game, and it's not the players sometimes, it's the spectators. So these, I think, a message I'm giving the spectators. It's a sport. You've got to take it. You win some, you lose some, and there are forums you can take up if you feel something was bad. So to the boys, go out there and enjoy it. That's what it's about. Go out there and enjoy it. The better side will win, but go out there and enjoy the game. That's what it's all about.
Absolutely. As we always mention, it's the infield matches, what you play in the grounds and what happens off the field. It is end of the day the camaraderie, the good friendships, the cherished moments in life, what makes this beautiful game interesting, and probably one of the most interesting sports leagues in the world we have in Sri Lanka, Mr. Cooray. We have one of the highest following in schools rugby here in Sri Lanka compared to South Africa and New Zealand. I mean, people are crazy here for schools rugby more than anywhere in the world.
Yes,
So-
and the standard is somewhat better than, I would say, even the club rugby, schools rugby.
And folks, that's it from all of us here at Quadrangle, the 76th Bradby Shield, and Mr. Sriyan Cooray, the chief guest for the first leg here in Colombo. Thank you very much for joining us here at Quadrangle, and we hope to see you soon with some interesting and important matchups, sports, trivia, stats, and interesting articles and review shows and special coverages on Quadrangle on all the sports, and especially the 76th Bradby this year. So Sriyan Cooray, and this is the first, he is the 1983 captain who is joining as the first interview program for this year's 76th edition. He will be the chief guest for the first leg, and of course this year we will be giving you special updates on the 76th Bradby from Colombo and Kandy from all of us in the Quadrangle team. And I'm Muad Razik, signing off from Colombo.